today's video, we are going to be discussing, as you already know by the title, the P.diddy recent arrest, R. Kelly allegations. Yeah, and we're just gonna go from there. We're also gonna touch a little bit on rates of sexual molestation in or sexual assault in America, and kind of jump into the insights on that and understanding as to why that happens. So let's go ahead and continue. So the first topic obviously is going to be about the P.diddy recent arrest. This Illuminati is something that has been just known in the hip hop culture ever since I've been alive, since early 2000s. So it's not a shocker to hear that, but I just feel like with black guys, they kind of engage into a sense of slavery, a sense of submission to someone higher, and I don't believe Diddy just created this genius idea to want to manipulate people or record people without their consent or kind of set up people. I think there's a bigger picture here, and there's definitely someone above him that's doing this, but Diddy is fully responsible and accountable for those actions he took. So with that being said, I think, and this is just all going to tie into what the current topic is, or the, consensus is here. So it is terrible. It is terrible that he did those things to those vulnerable people. I think there was even some speculations he may have contributed to his ex-wife's death, Kim Porter. But again, if you know how the Illuminati works, you would know that there needs to be some type of sacrificial lamb. So the sacrificial lamb can be a kid, a mom, a dad, a sister, a brother. And that's why a lot of times you do kind of hear about the celebrities or hip hop artists losing a friend or losing a brother or losing a mom or dad. It happens. And the music industry is very, very corrupt. It's a very evil organization to get yourself into if you're not like an independent artist. There's some shitty record labels that will kill you if you don't do exactly what they tell you to do when they say it. So it's shitty. But back to P. Diddy, it really sucks that he did this to minors. He's part of this sex trafficking charge and everything like that. And I want to kind of relay or kind of get into how that relates with black men, because a lot of times you see black men at the forefront of sexual acts, sexual assaults, all of that, sexual allegations. And I think that kind of just turmoils or boils down to slavery. In slavery time, black men had to be submissive. They had to procreate with whoever. It didn't matter who they procreated with. This could be, I don't even think they cared about a gene testing or anything like that, or biological testing to make sure, you're not procreating with your sister or your mom. Those 400 years of slavery were brutal and toxic, and people just had to do whatever your master told you to do. So I am going to attribute that, sexual assault in black men, and kind of create that correlation there, because it does correlate deeply. I do see how that would be a reason for black men to always be at, literally, he's not even the only one. R. Kelly's getting charged, and it's just black men in general. And we're going to get into the different topics and the different accusations that black men are just always seem to be under. White people do this as well. I'm not going to say white people do molest people, but it's mainly predominantly black people I do see doing that, and Spanish as well. So what we're seeing is a lot of minorities that don't know right from wrong. And a lot of times these are people that have been under some type of suppression or oppression, by a master or someone, that is telling them what to do. This is not, they're consciously thinking this is the right thing. They don't know, so And it comes from you just having a weak mindset because, like I said, you've been told what to do. You have a slave master. But obviously, if we're in the 21st century, where do we cut ties with that? Where do we just say, oh, I'm not going to sell my soul and do this, or I need to know what's right or wrong. Like, my daughter's going to have a future. I can do this to her, or etc. You know, so, but we'll get into that. So going back to P. Diddy's case, I feel that, you know, he's definitely wrong for recruiting minors and things like that. No, you know, but the thing is that these minors are coming from, you know, poor places, impoverished places in Spanish countries in the South America where people need money, you know. So, and it's like, if that daughter is gonna, you know, be the breadwinner of the family and have to do these sexual favors to people, you know, then, you know, that it just depends. Every situation is different. But yeah, that is sad that he's going through that. But he's a grown man, and every grown man, every day, you know, you make choices, you make decisions. And it sucks that it's embarrassing as well as a Black female, you know, to be hearing this about another Black male that's so far high in society. You don't want to hear that, because that society is now going to see that, okay, is this what Black people only know? You don't know how to go to school. You don't know how to be educated. You don't know how to make money the right way. You're always going to be land in jail. You know, it sucks. It really, really, really is going to get under Black people's skin. Black people that are hardworking, Black people that work jobs, you know, and especially women as well. You know, it sucks because now society is going to think, wow, well, tricking and all of this, and this is all that Black women know how to do. And that's irritating, because for me, I have 2 degrees. I have a job. I trade, you know, so I never ever relied on any man for anything. And it just sucks that, you know, now we have this diminished character outlook, that society, that, you know, all due to P. Diddy, you know, and all due to all these Black men that are trying to normalize sexual assault and molestation, you know. And it's just, is like I said earlier, it's the thing with Black guys, you know. Black guys now just know how to sleep with you, give you a baby, and that's it. And it's like, if I wanted a baby or a kid, I would happily spend $1,000 to find my sperm donor that I don't even have to sleep with, and here's my kid. I'm already going to be carrying the baby for 9 months, so what exactly would I need you for? But it's sad that, you know, a lot of these relationships that stem with Black men, they really don't have any kind of roots, or they really don't kind of have any importance at all. It's kind of like, just you met a friend, you had a one night stand, and he gave you a baby, you know. And it is embarrassing. It's very, very embarrassing and disgusting as well. I don't like to hear that. I don't like that. That's all that society will see that men do. And these are not like just regular guys on the street. These are high profile people I'm referring to, football players that have $30 million contracts. P. Diddy, you know, he was a celebrity. He was, you know, a rapper, you know, in high society. And you just see that, you know, like, it's like every hip hop artist has some type of baby mama, and they normalize this toxic trait. But I think that it's literally something that definitely stemmed from slavery. There's no way these men just thought for themselves. And that's the thing with a lot of Black guys too. They are lost at times. They do need to be found. They are confused, because you got to think about it. Going through 400 years of slavery is not an easy going there. That is like decades and like just so many years of being brainwashed. You know, and you see that, you know, you don't see white men saying the prolific term, oh, my baby mama, or they would at least give you a little bit of respect, or the woman respect, and say, oh, my kid's mom, you know. But you see how low down and dirty that term is, and that terminology is used by such minority people like Black men, you know, but Spanish don't even say that. I never hear them say my baby mama, unless they're really, really ghetto ones say that. But it shows that little part of slavery indoctrinated into these men's mind, you know, and we're going to dive into that. We're really going to dive into that and pick the brains of, you know, what I see and what I feel is attributing to that. Yeah, these football players, they will have 6, 5 baby mamas and tell the woman, you know, hey, at least you have this lifestyle, you know, at least you have a car, you know, at least you have a home, and at least you have a roof over your head. And it's like, that's really not the point. All those materialistic things are great, obviously, you know, who wants to be homeless? And so, guys, just to touch on that topic a little bit more with African Americans, guys per se, due to the 400 years of slavery and oppression, right? It's not like, it takes a lot to overcome that. Not only that, but these men's mental health and mental status is not always going to be top tier, because there's some men that have not even overcame that trial and tribulation, right? Like, you could probably see them go to work and act like a normal human being, but when they go home, they take this outlet. You know, everyone has an outlet. Some people's outlet may be drugs, which we see a lot in African American societies. They do drugs a lot. Crackheads, they even know a crackhead. Like, Judge Mathis will tell you, like, oh yeah, she's a crackhead. Like, and he'll just say that like it's just a normal thing, but he knows. But yeah, and you know, you see some of them that result to the sexual assault, sexual molestation, you know, so there's outlets people use. But one thing I will say is, when you can't really look for security within these men. You can't look for security within a black man for some reason, because their mental health sometimes is not as developed. Not all, but I want to say majority. You know, a lot of these football players, they're still engaging into that mental slavery transaction there, where they're working their ass off, they're getting punched, they're getting you know, like with their helmet, there's such a thing as CTE, where it affects their brain and they get pushed down to the floor, they get shoved, they get literally brutally attacked on, you know, their bodies go through hell. And they're doing all of this for a check. They don't need to do this. And football's not practiced in any part of the world except for America. And that doesn't lead to a great mental health there if you're like getting shoved and beat up. Like, I prefer soccer. Soccer is less dangerous. It's more, people like it more, you know, and it's an easy sport to play. It might take forever to get a goal, but I mean, I would prefer, you know, people do that than football. But you know, you see, and it's majority African Americans that do football now, and we see that they're doing this for a check. Colin Kaepernick was trying to call you know, the organizers out and the owners of NFL and say like, wow, you guys are being racist and you guys are mean, and I'm not gonna kneel and I'm not gonna they have to, I don't know, they have to do something whenever they read the statue, what is it, the pledge, the American pledge, and he spoke against that. He's like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna, you know, stand or kneel or something like that during the pledge. And I think they sacked him off. They said, okay, well, you're not gonna have a contract, and that's that. You know, so that's just America. They want you to be their slaves. They want you to do what they asked you to do. And that, for some people, it sucks. A lot of these football players, I'm sure they go through things that they don't want to do, but they know they want 30 million in their bank account. They know they want a check. So you have to really understand between the fine line between, okay, when do I have to just take autonomy of my life and not allow this to affect my mental health? Because these women, I don't even think they pick out the brains of the men they're dating, especially football players. They go through a lot of health issues. They go through a broken arm or something like that because they're going through hell on the field. Practice as well, you know, but I feel like there's some women that are not being honest with themselves and not doing the full research they can whenever you are dating a black man. You know, it's not only just the 400 years of oppression, but the football players as well. They're not going to provide security for you and marry you because you tell them you're pregnant. They will just see that and know in their logic mind, use logic to defy anything and just say, okay, You need a check for you and your kid until he or her gets to 18 years of age, and that's that. But a lot of these women are looking for rings, a home, and that's good, or some kind of security or attachment to these football players or to these high prolific guys. And it's like, you can't get that. This is why the term baby mama exists. Cam Newton, he just had a recent baby mama named Jasmine, and they're not married. They're just living life as friends. She's a baby mama. He probably wrote her a check. And I guess a lot of women need to know what comes with dating a football player. They're going to have many girlfriends. They're not going to be tied down to anybody. There's no security there. You're lucky if you get financial security. Good. Or you get alimony. But it's just not something you should really look up to. And for the women that are doing that for that, they probably already know what they're getting into. They probably already know, okay, if we're going to have sex, we do this. You're not going to wear a condom, obviously. So, okay. Just know what your financial requirements are if I do become pregnant. So, it's just a lot to delve into. But mental health, it comes down to mental health. We make choices and decisions every day. We have to. Some people choose to sleep in bed for 12 hours, then get up and take a run and exercise. Some people choose to work. Some people choose to just stay at home all day. Some people choose to take a road trip and drive 12 hours. Everyone's different. Everyone has to just make decisions. And if you make a screwed decision or something, a life-changing moment, something like that, or decision, you have to be accountable for that. You do. So I think with men, they some don't even care about their mental health. They don't. And that's just that, but for the girls out there wondering why men are not being so connected to their families or not marrying you, these men have their own battles and a lot of times men are not allowed to come out and just say, I had a tough day, or man, I'm stressed out, because it's looked as a sign of weakness. We know this as women. So you have to use a different approach to try to really get underneath a man's mind and see, what is he really going through? Because that's probably why I'm not married. Or that's probably why I'm not getting what I need, because he doesn't see me as any kind of relevant person, or this kid that I just had. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot of getting to know, but yeah. Oh, my baby mama, or they would at least give you a little bit of respect, or the woman respect, and say, oh, my kid's mom, but you see how low down and dirty that term is, and that terminology is used by such minority people like black men, but Spanish don't even say that. I never hear them say my baby mama, unless they're really, really ghetto ones say that. But it shows that little part of slavery indoctrinated into these men's mind, and we're going to dive into that. We're really going to dive into that and pick the brains of what I see and what I feel is attributing to that. These football players, they will have 6-5 baby mamas and tell the woman, hey, at least you have this lifestyle, at least you have a car, at least you have a home, and at least you have a roof over your head. And it's like, that's really not the point. All those materialistic things are great, obviously. Who wants to be homeless? I don't want to be homeless, but that wouldn't be the reason, or why I would start a relationship with, or even sleep with a guy. It's not because of a home. It's not like you're helping a homeless person and you're giving me this, picking me off the ground and giving me this lifestyle. And some women are just so slow. They don't know that, they're being, they are not even being cared about in that sense. They're not rated. They're not a wife. They're not going to really get anything aside from a check from this. And the things that people do for money, it's crazy. But it's very, 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 very sad. But it's just so how you can see the connection between that. And someone that went through something for 400 years, it's not going to be easy. Like me, I come from Nigeria, so that's something that is a taboo. You don't go around putting your dick in every woman and doing what you want to do and saying that's it, and I think that's something that the American colonizers caused. I can't even like fully blame black men for that. I can't, because if your roots, if you were born and raised in America, that is where that is where you come from. That is where your culture, that is where the traditions came from. And I guess at that point in time in slavery, that's what you have to do. There's no questioning anything. There's no trying to figure it out anything. This is the systematic abuse that's going on against slaves, and you have to do it this way. So imagine when slavery ended. Imagine when the oppression ended. You're gonna be lost. You don't even, some people were so scared to even go back and ask white people something, because white people didn't even give a damn. They didn't want to know how do you start a great family bond and relationship. That's something you would go to school and learn, and just along the lines in this generation now, you're still seeing little speckles of that in society. You're still seeing men that struggle with knowing, how do I really build a beautiful family? How do I build a strong family? I want a family. I want to have my kids. I want to be at my kid's birthday party. I don't want to have different women that I have to jump around to. And now it's to the point that these men don't even give a damn to even marry these women. It's just like, okay, you're just a nobody I happen to have a one night stand with, and you got pregnant. There it is. For the next 18 years of my life, I have to pay child support. Yay. But I think that, they're not fully to blame. 50% of the reason that black men are going through the shambles and this and that is due to the 400 years of slavery. We cannot erase history and society as much as we want to. As much as America wants to laugh and be delusional about it and, do all of this, history has a way of playing into your present life, and it's just what it is, so it really does deter, like me coming from such a traditionally cultural background like Nigeria. We value traditions. We want to be authentic as we can, right? Even though we were once colonized by Great Britain and we made it from that, that doesn't mean, that we're going to now try to be like Great Britain people and have a London accent. Like, no, we're always going to have our own cultures, our own language. I love learning my Igbo language. I love speaking it. It's good. So, it makes me feel like, okay, I'm authentic. I belong to some type of group. In America, it's like free for all, and it's the same systematic approach that a lot of these guys are using. It's just, you see it. No one's valuing a marriage. No one cares to even care how a woman feels. When she says she's pregnant, it's just like, oh, okay, well, I'll make sure you get a check for you and your kid, and that's that. And that just has no tradition in itself. I don't need a check. I need you to be there to pick up the kid from school. I need you to take him to the doctor's office. I need you to take him to football practice. I need you to do everything for him. So a check doesn't cut that. Time is money, right? But if I have to do all of it, it's like I basically created this job by myself. So that's just one thing that, when people want to understand why are baby mamas, why is that term so prolific in African American communities and minority backgrounds, it's because of this, unfortunate history of Americans. So I'm not going to blame them for that. But what we are going to definitely dive into is molestation. Sexual assaults, I can't even say it right. Molestation. That's how I say it. Guys, I'm from Nigeria, so something doesn't sound right, please leave a comment down below. All right, so basically with sexual assault, goes back to the history we just talked about with slavery, even in white homes as well, Caucasian homes, not more so like Italian or not like so much European homes like Germany and but American based homes, like these are American people that derived and grew up and were raised here. You do see a lot of cases that pertain to sexual assault within the family background. So this one we're going to touch on is the R. Kelly situation. His daughter recently came out and said that she was molested by her father. I read the article. They posted it on social media. She was crying about it. I went back and read the comments and just try to get an overview of what everyone else had to say, and it was surprising. I think some commenters were like, oh, you know, there's always that grandpa secret that people can't talk about, and this and this and that. And it's like, so sexual assault in a way was normalized. Again, it goes back to slavery days when nothing mattered and you just do what your master told you to do. So I think that always carried over to Black men. They never knew how to just cut off that, bad trait, because it's something that was their outlet. It's something that made them feel good. You know, it's like a expression for them to. We all know men are expressive during sex, and you know that's how they express themselves. So it's fine to express yourself, but it's terrible when you're using your family as that punching bag for that, or you're using your family as the outlet to even exhibit these sexual behaviors. It's terrible, it's disgusting, and like I said, no culture, no tradition. That is not what you do in any other part of the country. So it is very sad, and I like, so a commenter said that, you know, there's times in families that, you know, we always have to keep granddad's secret, or we have to keep our granddad's secret or grandfather's secret. And it's like, so again, this was normalized, and it's sad. You know, I do believe her. I do just want to break that down and discuss the toxicity within that household. So just layman terms, R. Kelly was a pervert. There's no excuse for that. I'm not going to say anything about why he did it or this. We kind of know part of why he did it, but for him as a human being, an able-bodied human being, to leave all the millions of beautiful girls that are created in this world every day to go to his own household and do that, we're going to break down that psychology behind it and give you guys an overview. So a lot of times when you see molesters or sexual predators, they like to victimize the people that are closest around them. They don't like to just go to a subway and do this to someone, or walk into a restaurant with everybody there in the public and do this to someone and terrorize that person sexually. You do see that sometimes, but literally not compared to the percentages that you see at home. We're going to talk about the states that you would typically see this in, but I'm sure just anywhere in America you've probably heard about that sexual assault. It's so rampant, it's so common. So recent studies show 1 in 3 women are likely to get molested or have been molested. Some haven't reported. You know, it really just depends. You know, it's this very crazy situation to be in. I'm glad I haven't been in that position, but you know, we're going to talk about the psychology behind it. So sexual predators obviously will not just go in the open and do a sexual assault to someone like in the public. It's predators, even if you watch crime shows, right? It's always someone within your circle. It's always someone that knows you. It's always someone that has some type of knowledge about you that will just harm you the worst. They have a report on you, right? So they know everything about you. They probably know when you're going to come back from work. They know when you're going to be home. They know when you're going to go out. They know, you know, like this is someone you obviously trust, you know, and it just sucks that some family are like that, but it happens. It really does happen. And a lot of commenters on that post with R. Kelly's daughter was like, oh, but how could a father do this? You know, I think she wants a big check. She wants a check from her dad. It's not only is it embarrassing enough for your father to be a molester, but to now want to capitalize on that and say she wants money from this, I that's embarrassing. I don't think she's doing that for the money. You know, I mean, if anything, her mom is the one that's getting the big payday. So she's probably getting money from, you know, Drea, the dancer. But for her to just finally choose to talk about her emotional abuse or her sexual assault, it takes a lot of time for somebody to say that. And a lot of times with sexual assault and sexual abuse, like if that's happening to a girl, that's something that a lot of women don't want to speak out on, especially if it's a family member. Do you know how embarrassing that is? Do you know how society will look at you like, wow, your family must just have the lowest IQ, because what the hell, what the fuck, there's millions of people out in this world to be attracted to. There's strippers, there's people, you can even buy sex nowadays if you go to a brothel. Why the hell would a cheap bastard choose to procreate and choose to target family in a sexual manner? It just doesn't make any sense. So because it's almost like a taboo, right, in most countries, but in America, they, like I said, this is a land of free. This is where normalizing crap is so prominent here, so I do feel her pain. I don't think I would even be able, especially, and we're talking about R. Kelly, not a regular Joe, not a regular guy from the street. This is R. Kelly, which is, he sold platinum records. He collaborated with so many people. And he just always had this negative desire. A lot of people were saying that, okay, yes, but if he could marry Aaliyah when she was 14, the singer that passed away, I am 100% complete sure he did this to his daughter. And the allegations that were set forth against R. Kelly was that you're doing this to like all these girls. You're spitting in their face. You're molesting them. You're beating them. You're sexually assaulting them like they're nobody. You're even recording yourself doing these sexual acts. So if you can be so explicit with that and out in the open about your sexual acts, then you probably do have some type of addiction and problem, which some males do experience. But to do this act against your daughter, your innocent daughter, you take her innocence like that, it is depravity at its finest. It's terrible. And a lot of people said, well, why did she say it now? Why didn't you say it earlier when her mom could have told her to just hush and be quiet? Like I said, a lot of commenters kind of related with her and said, well, that wouldn't be the first grandpa's secret or father's secret that was ever said. A lot of these allegations, molestations, they don't make it to social media. Social media literally just became popular 15 years ago, 10 years ago when Instagram came out. I was in high school when Instagram came out. So it's not like you had this place or this safe place where you can just come out and say, hey, I've been molested and by my, parent or something like that. Even on Facebook, is like the only thing you can do on Facebook is you can do videos of yourself, which people hardly did. But majority of the things you could do on Facebook was make comments, make posts, and things of that nature. But I hardly saw anybody writing paragraphs about personal things like that, So yeah, victims are going to choose when they want to speak out, and it's her right. She's a human being. So getting back to Black Americans and African Americans, there's always going to be some type of sexual assault that goes on in their homes. Even my friend, when I was working at a little call center in 2018, was telling me how her mom was normalizing her to go talk to guys and to get to know guys and meet them and this and that. And, she even told me about a cousin of hers that I guess inappropriately touched her in the bathroom. So she was very upset about that. She was like, oh my God, why am I being touched? And this is my cousin, so that kissing cousin theory is not a joke and a lie. That's why I don't like anything to do with the South, because they normalize the worst shit. And that's where you really see majority of the slavery artifacts and like the experiences, the things that people had to go through in the South. It's there in the South that it was so mainly widespread, performed in. So I hate the South for that reason. I hate that disgusting things are normalized. They try to make it say it's the Southern charm. Well, it's just, Southern charm doesn't exist. If you lived in Texas, if you lived in the South, that is just a big old joke. If you live in California, that there is like, okay, a balance. But in the South, they will switch up so quick on you within a matter of seconds. In the North, they have to be realistic. They must be real with themselves. Time goes fast. Time is money. So there's no way you can lie to yourself. Things are not cheap in New York or in the North. You have to be able to tell yourself the truth. you know. And in the South, I don't think they have that kind of sense of fear in life, like there's much that they have to do, because, you know, they just think that there's this background, and, you know, and they're just evil people in the South. The country people, they suffer a lot. They suffer mentally in the South. And I didn't want to do anything there with my nursing degree. I didn't want to, you know, it's just the things you see in the South is fucked up. But back to what I was saying about R. Kelly, it sucks, you know, and not just R. Kelly though. Let's talk about this widespread epidemic. It is basically an epidemic. It's something that doesn't get spoken about. It's something that is like, it's because it's such a taboo, you know, and the backlash she's going to face. Look at the backlash she's getting now. They're saying she's poor and she wants some money from him. And then some people even said, next, he doesn't have any money. The money's gone. It's like, so you kind of see this psychosis breakdown with a lot of African Americans and them normalizing this. I think at times, when the slavery days and all of that, people were just trying to survive. People honestly were just trying. They didn't care if you got smacked on the ass or if you got raped by a family member or if your cousin touched you inappropriately. People were just trying to make it, live another day without being under the master's contempt or bad side, I would say. So yeah, you know, you see this all around the South. You also see it here in New Jersey where I'm at. There was in Paterson, New Jersey, the Fugees producer director decided to procreate with his child, his daughter, and she had 3 kids. And she said in an interview, like, these are my kids, these are my blood, I can't keep, you know. And I'm just like, girl, 3 times though, you know. So it takes a sexual assault survivor a lot to just come out and say, but look, this is my father and he's doing this to me, or this is my uncle and he's doing this to me. Some women will be homeless. Some women will be just told they are the biggest liar. Some women will be kicked out. Some women will be disowned. Some women will not have a meal to eat the next day, you know. So it's not just an easy thing to come out and say this molestation happened to me and look at him and this and that, you know. It wasn't until I think she was pregnant with her 2nd child that she felt the need to say something. But, you know, and I can never blame her. I've never been in those shoes before. It's only when you're in those shoes that you'll know what to do. So it's just sad that Black men don't know how to overcome that deficit in their minds, that they need to traumatize their family, you know. And a lot of times they traumatize their family because they know their family would be their biggest advocator, would have their back, would not, you know, and that's the thing I hate about these guys. They would threaten death. They'll say, if you tell anybody, I'll kill you. And it's like, you don't think what you're doing to me is killing me inside? You're not breaking down my emotions. You're not, you know, this is worse than anything, you know. And they just don't care. Some Black men just don't care. And it's not just Black, but I think Black men do have the most rampant cases, the most highest cases of sexual assault at home. And you do see that sometimes in Spanish communities. I will not lie. There was a reality TV star named Estelita that came from Panama. And she discussed how, you know, that occurred to her as well. You know, parent on child sexual activities. And that just shouldn't be happening. Just as recent as last month, or 2 months ago, there was a case in Miami where a Spanish father kept intimate photos of his daughters in his home. I mean, in his bedroom. They were looking because I think they said the daughter passed away because he killed his daughter because he thought that the daughter was trying to come in between him and her mom, you know. And he murdered her. She was dead. But then they did the investigation and saw that, you know, there may have been some type of affection between him and the daughter, because he had these intimate pictures of her. I don't know why a father would do that, but it happens in minority, poverty-stricken locations and areas. And it sucks. It really sucks, you know. And they victimize family members because they know that these people are the last individuals that are going to walk into the police station and say, hey, I'm being touched and I'm pregnant by a family member of mine. It's embarrassing for a woman to do that, you know? And I feel like with women, we always have the odds against us. Growing up in Texas, I didn't have any male figures around me, thank you God, because I did never, you know. But in Nigeria, that's not something that's so prolific. Like, we have cultures, we have standards, we have traditions we follow. So it's not like I was ever scared of that. But I actually preferred living with my dad because he was so chill and cool and everything. But yeah, it's crazy. It really, really is crazy. And I think the only speckle of kind of like controversy that I was thinking in my mind of some type of like inappropriate acts was with we had a housemate in Nigeria that lived with us, and that was when I was like 7 and 8 and 9 years, or 7 and 8. And there's times she would just be so foolish and giggly and things like that. And one day I came up to her, I was like, oh my God, my ass is itching me or something like that. So she had to remove my panties to kind of like search and put her hands in around there. And I'm glad it was a woman. It wasn't a guy, guys, but it was a woman. She had to like put her finger up my ass and a little bit up my, you know, private area to see why my underwear was itching me. Because I'm like, it itches. And, you know, in Nigeria, you have the convenience of having a maid and things like that. People that will just do things for you in general. So she did ask for consent. You know, it wasn't like she just dragged me and started touching me and, you know, and I'm mad about it. No, it wasn't even an everyday situation. I presented her with an issue that my panties are kind of itching me. I don't know what it is. So, and she would give me showers and everything like that. And she never touched me inappropriately. But there was a time she just wiggled her finger a little bit, like an inch closer to my vagina. And I was like, oh my God, okay, I'm done here. So she would just do funny, jokey things like that, but there was always consent. A lot of times with these situations you see in America, there's no consent. There's absolutely no consent. These men will just walk into your room at night and do what they do and lay on you and touch you, and you didn't even ask for that. So it's just shitty with that. But at least in Nigeria, I'm glad she was able to at least honor and respect me in that sense. Like, hey, you know, not that I had any boobs or even anything to touch. It was just a little complaint I had. But, you know, but I think that's a shocker. You know, it's unfortunate as well that happens in Black American communities, you know, and it's disgusting that it has to be a secret. You know, it has to be kept under the rug. You know, it doesn't. You know, you don't know how she was feeling for the past 10, 20 years, dealing with that, not knowing if, you know, her mom is going to disown her and say, girl, you're trying to stir up a whole mess. You see, he's already in jail. You know, you don't know what people go through, especially women. Women have to deal through a lot, you know, and a lot of Black communities, if you try to speak against them, or even in Black families as well, I've seen on YouTube, girls would be like, man, I got kicked out by my father. My father whooped my ass at 19 and now I'm out the house, you know? So it sucks, you know? A lot of Black people don't have patience for their own kids, and I don't know why. I think that's a very sad, toxic trait. And 90% of them will deny it. They'll say, this is what the society wants you to believe. This is what you see on, you know, the police and everybody saying, this is what the government wants us to be against each other. But you guys do this in real life. You do, you know? Like growing up, I didn't have any Black friends. The one Black friend I tried to have, she punched me and made me realize, oh, well, I guess we weren't friends like we thought we were. So it's just like they're like an autoimmune disease that they fight off their own selves, the people that are there to help you, which is other Black people, other like-minded people that know what you're going through, that relate with you. They fight that off, and it's crazy like that. Like that's what they go against. I'm not saying they value or even like white people any more than they like Black people, but they just, it's weird. You know, the people that look like you, the people that, you know, are like you, the people that relate, those are the people you want to target and get at and spew all this vitriol to. And it sucks, you know, it's counterproductive, because now you don't want to walk into any black owned stores. You don't even want to help any black owned stores because there's going to be this sense of backlash you make. You're going to be weirded out. You don't know what you're going to expect. You don't know how they're going to take it. So for me, I just, I hardly had black friends. I think I only had like 2 black friends. And one was very like-minded to me. She took me out. We had so much fun. And she would warn me too. She would be like, man, I have a crazy family. They will run over your car. They don't care. And I was like, what? Are you serious? She's like, yeah. And I didn't know I definitely believed her, because I'm like, for me to get punched right here in my lip twice, I'm like, okay, yeah, you guys got, but it just doesn't make sense, And I think they wouldn't do that to white people because it's like, oh, you're going to get the police called on you. You're going to jail, and they would go to jail for that, true. But I just gave her a pass. I'm like, okay, you're angry, you're mad. I see it. Cool. But it's the weirdest thing. And I don't have any black friends. Don't come for me in the comments, but I just rather not. I don't want to open those can of worms ever in life. But yeah, that is the case there. And what else was I going to say? It sucks. It sucks that that's something normalized in America. So proud of and loved my roots and culture and where I came from, yeah. But just, with black guys, they need to stop sexualizing everything. We see that too much. We know sex sells, but it's like, at times it's like, are you doing this for attention? Because I felt P.diddy was doing that for attention. You're sexualizing these little girls, you're everything, and I don't get it. It's just broken homes, looking at it from a psychology perspective. It sucks. It's not good. You're just hurting people. You're smiling in their face. Then you're writing a check for the problems you've caused for the next 18 years. It sucks, and thankfully the predators are in jail. I do like that. That's very good. But the states that you really see that happening is Oklahoma. Like, very, very sad. And I'm like, what is going through his mind? In Oklahoma, there's at least 10 cases of family on family incest and procreation, even in Virginia too. So like I said, it's not just black people, but there's like a 5% of white people that do procreate within their home. And it's like, why? Don't you know you're causing more further down the line health conditions to your children? Your children are not going to come out well and great. People are going to mock those kids, and it's disgusting. The Oklahoma situation was the saddest because I think she was a teenager and she was just popping those kids out left and right. It was a biracial home. Dad was black, mom was white. And he just went on about normal business, like it was just a normal thing. Go to work every day, come back home, release your stress out on your daughter sexually, and it's disgusting. But I thank God every day that I'm not American, because the shit show you're seeing on TV and headlines in the news, disgusting. But yeah, it's even as a nurse, it's sad. It's sad. Me and one of my nursing coworkers were discussing how sad it was that a lady would just come out, and you see a lot of these in the hospital. You see a lot of these situations where it's just like a free for all. He put his dick wherever he wanted to, and now she's here to push out whatever she got. It's disgusting. These are little girls. And my coworker was saying, like, she saw a lot of girls that were in that position that she had to tend to. That she's like, yeah, well, I'm just here to go ahead and push out, my parents' child. Like, this is not making sense. What is America coming to? Do I need to move back to Nigeria? Guys, I've been wanting to move back to Nigeria for so long, because that's not something I want to hear. Like, when she even said that, I was like, oh my God, my ears. And the students were looking at me. I'm like, that's, like, nasty. Because it really is. It's like, are you ugly? Are you disabled? Do you have mental issues? Is there a reason that you can't go out there and find another spouse or another woman or someone that can just tend to your needs? Why does it have to be a little child that you created? You know? And I'm so glad in New Jersey they have what's called the Megan's Law, because a little girl was murdered, sexually assaulted. Sorry, it's crazy how these guys will make sure before they kill you, they'll molest you first, then kill you. And yeah, she didn't need to go through that. You know, she was kidnapped. She was playing around on her little neighborhood area, and just now had to deal with the battles and issues that this monster caused. And it's a statewide law, so I'm glad about it. I am. But guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Will black men ever change? Do you believe it's true? I mean, I have no hope or prosperity, and I could care less. I don't come from this country. I come from Nigeria. So, but I think it's sad. I think that we definitely need a change, and change comes from within. A lot of black Americans suffer delusions and thinking that it's other people that are against us. We're not gonna look in the mirror. You know, we're not the problem or the case here. And it's like, you're the reason things aren't working out for you. You know, we understand the 400 years of slavery, but when that ended, you should have picked right back up and did the right thing and took care of yourself, you know. And I don't know, some just don't care about it. So my thing is, yeah, it sucks. But like I said in previous videos, for black men, it's like embarrassing now. It's embarrassing to date them. Come on. You know, you mean to tell me just, okay, we're dating and both parties choose to have sex, and then I have the baby, and then you leave and just say, oh, it is what it is? Like, this is a whole human being. You know, should the woman have been on birth control? Yes, but they normalize the worst things in life, the things that matter, the things that are a big deal. They normalize it as it's real, as it's nothing, as it really doesn't matter. So I tend to just stay away from them. Let them heal how they want to heal. Let them do whatever they need to do, and that be that. But let me know what you guys think down